October 31st, 2024, 11:43 p.m. Maya Chen's phone lit up on her nightstand. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. Another spam call, another robot trying to sell her car insurance. But something made her pick it up. Maybe instinct, maybe fate, maybe something worse. The message had just 3 words: "Come find me." And below it, a photo. A Polaroid-style image that looked like it had been taken in the dark, flash-washing everything out in harsh white light. In the center of that photo was a girl, 17 years old, dark hair, familiar smile, Emma Chen, Maya's little sister, who had been dead for exactly 1 year, to the day, to the hour. Before we go any further, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling us your scariest real-life experience. The best stories get featured in our upcoming videos. We read every single one. My name is Detective James Rivera, Sacramento PD, Homicide Division, 23 years on the force. I've seen things that would make your stomach turn. Gang violence, domestic murders, crime scenes that haunt me years later. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what I found at 847 Redwood Drive on the morning of November 1st, 2024. The Chen house looked normal from the outside. Upper middle-class neighborhood. Halloween decorations still up. A carved pumpkin on the porch, its candle long since burned out. But when I walked through that front door, I knew immediately that something had gone very, very wrong. The living room was destroyed. Not ransacked, destroyed. Furniture overturned with a violence that suggested something stronger than human hands. Every mirror in the house shattered. And I don't mean cracked, I mean exploded outward, like something had punched through them from the other side. Glass embedded in the walls, in the ceiling. Patterns that made no sense. But it was the walls that made my blood run cold. Claw marks, deep gouges in the drywall, some of them going all the way through to the wooden beams underneath. 4 parallel lines, consistent spacing, running from floor to ceiling in some places. The crime scene techs measured them. Whatever made those marks had fingers 14 inches long. And in the center of the living room, written in something the lab later identified as a mixture of ash, salt, and human blood, was a symbol. A door. Drawn with obsessive precision. But this door had no handle. No hinges. No way to open it from the outside. Only from within. 6 teenagers had been in that house that night. Maya Chen, age 18. Her boyfriend Lucas Martinez, 19. Best friends Aria Thompson and Nathan Kim, both 18. And twins Zoe and Caleb Rivers, 17. By the time we arrived, 2 were dead. 3 were missing. And 1 was sitting in the corner of the basement, rocking back and forth, drawing that same symbol over and over on the concrete floor with her fingernails worn down to bloody stumps. It took us 4 days to piece together what happened. Another week to find the bodies and 3 months of therapy before I could sleep without seeing that symbol every time I closed my eyes. I'm telling you this story now because I have to. The department made me sign an NDA, threatened my pension, told me that releasing this information would cause mass panic. But here's the thing, keeping quiet is worse, because it's going to happen again. The pattern repeats, and if I don't warn you, if I don't tell you exactly what happened in that house, the next victim could be someone you love. This isn't about Ouija boards or stupid teenage games. This is about something ancient, something that's been waiting in the spaces between life and death, watching for the right moment, the right combination of grief and guilt and desperate love to create an opening. This is about an invitation from hell itself. And it started exactly 1 year before that text message. At a funeral on a gray October morning, when 5 teenagers stood around a grave and made a promise they should never have made. This is their story. This is their warning. And God help me, this is the truth. October 31st, 2023, 10:00 a.m. The sky was the color of old bruises. Gray clouds hung low over Riverside Cemetery, threatening rain that never quite came. Just that oppressive weight in the air, the kind that makes it hard to breathe, like the atmosphere itself was grieving. Maya Chen stood at the front of the gathering, her hand gripping her mother so tightly that both their knuckles had gone white. She was 17, though she felt about 100 years old right now. Her little sister's casket, white, too small, too wrong, sat suspended over the grave on mechanical lowering device that looked obscene in its clinical efficiency. Emma Chen, 1991-2023. Beloved daughter and sister. 16 years wasn't enough time. Wasn't nearly enough time. Maya, her mother whispered, her voice wrecked from 3 days of nonstop crying. You need to say something, please. I can't. Maya nodded, though she had no idea what words could possibly be adequate. What do you say when your baby sister dies on Halloween night? What do you say when it's your fault? She stepped forward, and that's when she saw them, standing together in a tight cluster away from the main group of mourners. Lucas, Aria, Nathan, Zoe, and Caleb, Emma's best friends. The 5 people who had been with her on the night she died. The 5 people who knew the truth. Lucas looked like he hadn't slept in days. His usually carefully styled hair was a mess, his eyes bloodshot and hollow. He'd been Emma's boyfriend for 6 months. They'd been planning to go to prom together next spring. Maya watched him standing there in an ill-fitting black suit and felt something twist in her chest. He'd loved Emma, really loved her. You could see it in the way he couldn't stop staring at the casket, like if he looked hard enough, this could all be a mistake. Next to him, Aria Thompson was openly weeping, her mascara running in black rivers down her brown skin. She and Emma had been inseparable since 3rd grade. Sleepovers every weekend, friendship bracelets, shared secrets. Now half of that bond was about to be lowered into the ground. Nathan Kim stood with his arm around Aria, trying to be strong, but Maya could see his jaw clenching over and over. He'd known Emma since kindergarten, had taught her how to ride a bike, how to throw a baseball. He'd been like another brother to her. And then there were the twins, Zoe and Caleb Rivers, 17 years old. Identical in almost every way except Zoe had cut her hair short last summer, and Caleb kept his long. They were the new kids, had only moved to town last year. Emma had befriended them immediately, the way she befriended everyone. Drew them into her orbit with that infectious laugh and genuine kindness. Now all 5 of them looked shattered, guilty, terrified. Because Maya knew what they were hiding. She'd pieced it together from the police report, from the things left unsaid, from the way they couldn't meet anyone's eyes. Emma hadn't just died. She'd died doing something stupid, something dangerous, something they'd all agreed to and now couldn't take back. Maya cleared her throat, and 200 people fell silent. Emma was... She started, and immediately her voice cracked. She took a breath, tried again. My sister was the best person I've ever known, and I know everyone says that at funerals, but with Emma it was actually true. A sob from somewhere in the crowd. Maya pushed forward. She was kind when it wasn't cool to be kind. She was brave when it mattered. When I was 14 and got bullied so badly I wanted to transfer schools, Emma, who was only 12, walked right up to the group of senior girls who were making my life hell and told them they were being pathetic. Just fearless. Maya's hands were shaking. She clasped them together. She loved Halloween. It was her favorite holiday. She'd start planning her costume in August. Every year she'd try to convince me to do a matching theme with her, and every year I'd tell her I was too old for that stuff. Maya's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. I'd give anything to have worn that stupid matching costume this year. Lucas made a sound like a wounded animal. Aria grabbed his hand. The police report says Emma died from cardiac arrest, that her heart just stopped. Maya looked directly at the 5 friends now. But I know that's not the whole story. I know there's more. And I know none of you will ever tell me what really happened that night. Mrs. Chen grabbed Maya's arm. Honey, please. Emma called me, Maya said, louder now. At 11:38 p.m. on October 30th, she was scared. She said they were doing something and it didn't feel right and she wanted to stop, but everyone else wanted to keep going. She said she loved me. She said if anything happened, Maya's voice broke completely. She said if anything happened, I should know it wasn't my fault. The 5 friends were frozen. Nathan had gone pale. Zoe was shaking her head slowly, tears streaming. But it was my fault, Maya continued. Because I was at a college party, I was drunk. I told her she was being dramatic and to just come home if she was scared. I didn't take her seriously. And 5 minutes later, her heart stopped for no medical reason anyone can explain. The priest was approaching, trying to gently guide Maya away from the microphone. But she wasn't done. So here's what I'm saying now in front of everyone. Maya stared at Lucas, Arya, Nathan, Zoe, and Caleb. I don't know what you did that night. I don't know what game you played or what ritual you tried or what stupid teenage thing went wrong. But Emma is dead. And you 5 are alive. And you're going to have to live with that. The funeral ended badly after that. Mrs. Chen had to be sedated. The priest pulled Maya aside and gave her a lecture about forgiveness and healing that she didn't hear a word of. The 5 friends disappeared before the burial was finished. But 2 hours later, as the sun was setting on Halloween day, and Maya sat alone in her car in the cemetery parking lot, there was a knock on her window. All 5 of them stood there, waiting. Maya rolled down the window. What? We need to talk, Lucas said. His voice was hoarse. You're right. You deserve to know what happened. They sat in a circle in the empty cemetery, perched on cold stone benches as darkness fell around them. In the distance, Maya could see Emma's grave, fresh dirt still piled around it. We were doing a séance, Arya said finally. Emma's idea, actually. She'd been researching local ghost stories, found something about the old Riverside Manor. Said there was supposed to be a portal there, a thin place between worlds that was most active on Halloween. A portal, Maya repeated flatly. I know how it sounds, Nathan said. We all thought it was stupid, but Emma was so excited about it. And it was Halloween. We figured, what's the harm? We'd go to this abandoned building, light some candles, say some words from a book Emma found online, and nothing would happen, and we'd all have a good story. Except something did happen, Maya said. The twins looked at each other, some silent communication passing between them. Finally, Caleb spoke. We followed the instructions exactly. Drew a circle in salt, lit candles at 5 points. Emma read the invocation, and at first, nothing. We sat there for like 20 minutes feeling stupid. Arya was making jokes. Lucas was checking his phone. I thought Emma might cry because she'd been so sure it would work. Then the temperature dropped, Zoe continued. Not gradually, instantly, like someone opened a freezer door. We could see our breath, and the candles. All 5 of them went out at once. Then we heard it, Lucas said. His hands were shaking as badly as Maya's had been during her speech. A voice, not from any direction, just there, in the air, in our heads, everywhere. And it said, he stopped, unable to continue. It said, thank you for the invitation, Arya finished. And then Emma started screaming. Maya felt cold spreading through her chest. What happened to her? She collapsed, Nathan said. Just fell backward like someone had pushed her. We all ran to her, broke the circle, completely panicked. I started doing CPR. Arya called 911. But Emma... His voice cracked. She was awake, Maya. Her eyes were open. She was looking at something above her, something we couldn't see. And she kept whispering, it's so cold. Why is it so cold? It won't let me go. The paramedics said her heart stopped, Zoe said. No reason, no pre-existing condition, just stopped. They got it beating again in the ambulance, but she was gone. Brain death. Too long without oxygen. We killed her, Lucas said bluntly. We opened something we shouldn't have, invited something in, and it took Emma as payment. They sat in silence as darkness completed its takeover of the cemetery. In the distance, Maya could hear trick-or-treaters laughing on the nearby streets. Life going on like normal, like the world hadn't just ended. I want to bring her back, Maya said suddenly. All 5 heads snapped toward her. Maya, no, Arya started. You opened a door. You invited something through. So we uninvite it. We make a trade. We get Emma back. That's not how it works, Nathan said. You can't just... How do you know? Maya demanded. Have you tried? Or did you just let my sister die and move on with your lives? That's not fair, Caleb said, anger flashing across his face for the first time. We loved Emma too. We've been living with this for 3 days. 3 days of knowing we killed our best friend. Don't you dare. Then help me fix it, Maya interrupted. 1 year from now, Halloween 2024, we go back to that place. We perform the ritual again. And this time we demand Emma back. It's impossible, Arya said. But her voice was wavering. Maya could see the desperate hope blooming in her eyes. The same hope that was burning in Maya's chest. You don't know that, Maya pressed. Maybe it's exactly what we're supposed to do. Maybe that's why Emma called me before she died. To tell me not to give up on her. Lucas was crying now, silently, tears tracking down his face. If there's even a chance... There's no chance, Nathan said firmly. We'd just be putting ourselves in danger. We'd be giving Emma what she deserves. Zoe finished quietly. A chance to come home. They looked at each other. 6 teenagers who'd just lost someone they loved. 6 people being offered the impossible. A second chance. A do-over. The opportunity to fix an unfixable mistake. It was Arya who spoke first. 1 year, Halloween 2024. We meet at the Riverside Manor at 11:30 p.m. We perform the ritual exactly as before, and we bring Emma home. One by one, they agreed. Even Nathan, though he looked sick as he nodded. Promise, Maya said, holding out her hand to the center of their circle. Promise you'll be there. Promise you won't back out. Promise you won't let Emma down again. They stacked their hands on top of hers. 6 hands, 6 voices speaking in unison. We promise. In the distance, a church bell tolled midnight. Halloween was officially over. Emma had been dead for exactly 24 hours, and somewhere in the cold October darkness something smiled, because it had been waiting for exactly this moment, for exactly this promise. The invitation had been sent 1 year ago. The acceptance had just been delivered. Maya hadn't been sleeping well for weeks. The closer they got to Halloween, the worse it became. Nightmares every time she closed her eyes. Always the same one. Emma standing at the foot of her bed, blue-lipped and cold, whispering, "Why didn't you come find me?" She'd tried therapy. Her parents had insisted after she dropped out of college in her first semester. Unable to focus on anything except the guilt that was eating her alive. The therapist said it was complicated grief. Survivor's guilt. Post-traumatic stress. Here are some coping mechanisms. Here's a prescription for sleeping pills that don't work. What the therapist didn't understand, what nobody understood, was that Maya didn't want to cope. She didn't want to move on. She wanted her sister back. And tonight, finally, she was going to get her. The plan was simple. At midnight, all 6 of them would meet at Riverside Manor. They'd perform the ritual exactly as before. And this time, they'd demand Emma's return. A life for a life. A soul for a soul. Whatever it took. Maya's phone sat on her nightstand, showing 11:42 p.m. 18 minutes until she needed to leave. Her parents were asleep down the hall. They'd forbidden her from seeing those kids anymore. Blamed them for Emma's death, for Maya's downward spiral. If they knew what she was planning tonight. 11:43 p.m. Her phone lit up. Unknown number. Maya's hand froze halfway to the phone. For a second, she couldn't breathe. Something about that notification felt wrong. Felt cold, like ice water had just been dumped down her spine. She picked it up with shaking hands. 3 words. Come find me. and below it, a photo. Emma, standing in what looked like darkness, the flash creating a harsh circle of light around her. She was wearing the same clothes she'd died in, black jeans, a white sweater, her favorite purple jacket. Her face was pale, too pale, and her eyes were wrong, too dark, too empty, like looking into a well with no bottom. But it was Emma, her little sister, looking directly at the camera, and she was smiling. Maya's phone slipped from her numb fingers, clattering onto the hardwood floor. This wasn't possible, this was a trick. Someone was messing with her. Maybe one of the others had gotten cold feet and was trying to scare her out of going tonight. But even as she thought it, she knew it wasn't true, because beneath the photo, new text was appearing, letter by letter, like someone was typing in real time. "I've been waiting, Maya. It's so cold here. Please come find me. You promised." Maya grabbed her phone with shaking hands. Her thumbs hovered over the keyboard. Every rational part of her brain was screaming that this was wrong, that she should block this number, that this wasn't really Emma. But what if it was? What if Emma had been conscious this whole year, trapped somewhere cold and dark, waiting for them to fulfill their promise? What if the ritual had worked after all, just not the way they expected? Maya typed back, "Emma, is that really you?" The response came immediately. "Yes. I need you, Maya. Tonight at the manor. Bring the others. Don't be late. The door only opens at midnight." Then another photo loaded. This one made Maya's blood freeze. It was taken from inside Riverside Manor. She recognized the main hall, the rotting chandelier, the grand staircase. But standing on those stairs, barely visible in the darkness, were 5 figures: Lucas, Aria, Nathan, Zoe, and Caleb. But the perspective was wrong. The photo was taken from above them, looking down at them, like someone or something had been watching them from the upper floor. And in the corner of the image, just barely visible, was a date stamp. October 30th, 2023, 11:47 p.m. The night Emma died. Maya's bedroom door burst open. She nearly screamed before realizing it was Lucas standing there, breathing hard, his face pale in the dim light from her desk lamp. "You got it too," he said. Not a question. Maya nodded, unable to speak. "Aria just called me, then Nathan, then the twins." Lucas ran a hand through his hair. "We all got the same message, same photos. It's... Maya, what the hell is this?" They met in the parking lot of an abandoned gas station 2 miles from Riverside Manor, all 6 of them arriving in separate cars, headlights cutting through the October fog that had rolled in thick and heavy. Nobody had planned this meeting spot. The text messages had just known, had given them all the same address. Aria was the first one out of her car, practically running to Maya. "Tell me this is a prank. Please tell me this is a sick prank." "It's not a prank," Zoe said. She and Caleb emerged from their shared vehicle, moving in that synchronized way twins do. "We both got it. Separate phones. Same message." Nathan was standing apart from the group, staring at his phone screen like it might bite him. "This is wrong. Everything about this is wrong. We need to call the police." "And tell them what?" Lucas demanded. "That we're getting text messages from my dead girlfriend? That we're planning to break into an abandoned building to perform a ritual? They'd arrest us or commit us. Better than being dead," Nathan shot back. "We're not going to die," Maya said, forcing confidence she didn't feel into her voice. "Emma is reaching out. She needs us. We promised we'd come get her." "That's not Emma," Nathan said flatly. "I don't know what it is, but it's not Emma. Emma would never..." His voice cracked. "She'd never toy with us like this, send creepy photos. That's not how she was." "Maybe death changed her," Aria suggested quietly. "Maybe wherever she's been, it's changed her, made her desperate." "Or maybe," Caleb said slowly, "it was never Emma at all. Maybe what we contacted last year, what took Emma, maybe it's been pretending to be her this whole time." Silence fell over the group. The fog swirled around them, making it hard to see more than a few feet in any direction. Somewhere in the distance, a dog was barking frantically. I want to see her, Lucas said suddenly. I don't care if it's dangerous, I don't care if it's a trap. I need to know if there's any chance at all, that Emma is still out there somewhere, that we can bring her home. Lucas, Nathan started. She was going to be my wife someday, Lucas interrupted, his voice breaking. I know we were only 17, I know people would say we were too young, but I knew. I knew she was it for me. And I let her die. I held her hand while her heart stopped and I couldn't do anything. So if there's even a fraction of a chance that I can fix that, I'm taking it. Maya felt tears burning in her eyes. We all loved her. We all miss her. But we need to be smart about this. Her phone buzzed. Everyone jumped. Another message. 11:57, you're running out of time. It knows where we are, Zoe whispered. It's been knowing where we are, her twin replied. Probably since the moment we made that promise. Arya's phone buzzed, then Nathan's, then Lucas's. All the same message, cascading through the group like a wave. The door is opening. Last chance, come find her, or lose her forever. Maya looked at each of them, saw her own fear reflected back, her own desperate hope, her own terrible guilt. We vote, she said. All of us. We only do this if everyone agrees. I'm in, Lucas said immediately. Me too, Arya whispered. The twins looked at each other, that silent communication again. Then, in unison, we're in. Everyone turned to Nathan. He was shaking his head, tears streaming down his face. This is insane. This is how people die in horror movies. We walk into that building and we don't walk back out. Maybe, Maya agreed. But what if we don't go? What if Emma really is trapped somewhere waiting for us and we abandon her because we're too scared? Then we live with it, Nathan said, like we've been living with everything else. No, Lucas said, no, I can't live with it. I've tried for a year, every day waking up knowing I could have done something different, said something different, been braver. I'm not making that mistake again. It's not a mistake to want to survive, Nathan argued. It's a mistake to let fear win, Arya countered. Emma never let fear win. She was the bravest person I knew. Emma is dead, Nathan shouted, his voice echoing in the empty parking lot. Dead, and we killed her. And doing this again won't bring her back, it'll just... His phone rang. Not a text this time, an actual call, from an unknown number. Nathan stared at it like it was a snake. I'm not answering that. Put it on speaker, Maya said. Maya, put it on speaker. With shaking hands, Nathan answered the call and held the phone out so they could all hear. Static at first, then breathing. Ragged, wet breathing, like someone with fluid in their lungs. Then a voice. Female. Young. Familiar. Nathan. It was Emma's voice. Not quite right. There was something off about the pitch, the cadence, but close enough that Lucas made a choked sound and Arya started sobbing. Emma, Nathan whispered. Why won't you come find me? The voice was sad. So sad. I'm scared, Nathan. It's dark here, and cold, and I can't get out by myself. I need you. I need all of you. Where are you? Maya demanded. Tell us where you are. You know where I am. I'm where you left me, in the dark, in the cold, where the door opened and you all ran away. We didn't run away, Lucas said, moving closer to the phone. Baby, we didn't. Emma, you died. Your heart stopped. We tried to save you. A sound came through the phone that might have been a laugh or might have been a sob. Did you? Or did you just save yourselves? That's not fair, Arya protested. We loved you. We love you. We're here right now because we want to bring you back. Then come, the voice said. Midnight, the manor, the same room, the same circle. But this time, the voice dropped to barely above a whisper. This time, someone has to stay. The line went dead. They stood in shocked silence, the weight of those final words settling over them like a burial shroud. Someone has to stay, Zoe repeated. What does that mean? A trade, Caleb said. A life for a life. That's what it's always been about. No, Maya said firmly. We're not trading anyone. We're all going in there. We're getting Emma, and we're all coming back out. That's not how this works, Nathan said. He looked defeated now, resigned. It took Emma as payment last time. If we want her back, it needs a replacement. That's what it's been waiting for. That's why it sent the messages it wants us to offer ourselves. Then we don't go, Arya said, though her voice was uncertain. We call this off. We can't, Lucas interrupted. He was looking at his phone, his face illuminated by the screen's glow. Look, all of you check your photos. Maya pulled up her photo gallery with trembling hands. Her most recent photos should have been from last week. Pictures of her mom's birthday cake, a sunset, some random screenshots. Instead, there were hundreds of new photos. All taken in the last few minutes, though she hadn't taken any. All showing the same thing. Emma, closer in each one, moving toward the camera, her face wrong, her eyes empty, her smile too wide. And in the final photo taken just seconds ago, Emma was standing right behind Maya, close enough to touch. Maya spun around with a gasp. Nothing there. Just fog and darkness and the distant sound of that dog still barking. But when she looked back at her phone, there was a new message beneath the photo. I'm coming for you anyway. Midnight, ready or not. 11:58 p.m. Thunder rumbled overhead, though there were no clouds. The fog was getting thicker, swirling around them with unnatural patterns. We don't have a choice anymore, Maya said quietly. It's not about whether we go to the manor. It's about whether we face this on our terms or on its terms. She looked at each of them. Her boyfriend, her best friends, her sister's friends. 6 people bound together by love and guilt and a terrible mistake. So who's with me? Lucas stepped forward first, then Arya, then the twins, hands clasped. Finally Nathan, looking sick but determined. If we're doing this, he said, we do it smart. We stay together, we don't split up, and the second things go wrong, we run. Agreed? Agreed, they said in unison. 11:59 p.m. They got into their cars, formed a small convoy heading toward Riverside Manor, toward whatever was waiting for them in the dark. Maya's phone buzzed one last time. Good choice. See you soon, sister. And attached, one final photo. Emma standing in the doorway of the manor, beckoning. Behind her, in the shadows of the entrance hall, other figures were visible, shapes that didn't look quite human, watching, waiting, hungry. The clock struck midnight. Halloween 2024 had officially begun, and somewhere in the darkness, a door that should have stayed closed was opening wide. Riverside Manor had been abandoned for 40 years. Once it had been the crown jewel of Sacramento's old money, a Victorian mansion built by railroad tycoon Edmund Riverside in 1887. 3 stories of Gothic architecture, stained glass windows, hand-carved mahogany banisters, a monument to wealth and excess. Then in 1984, something happened. The historical records were vague. Fire maybe, or a murder-suicide. Or maybe both. Whatever it was, the Riverside family left overnight and never came back. The house sat empty, slowly rotting, becoming the subject of local ghost stories and dares. Now, as 6 teenagers approached the front entrance at 12:03 a.m., the house seemed to be waiting. The front door was open. Not broken open. Not hanging off its hinges the way it had been the last time they were here. But standing wide open, light spilling out from inside. Impossible light, because there was no electricity in this building, and they hadn't brought any lamps. That wasn't open before, Caleb said unnecessarily. And there was definitely no light, Zoe added. They stood at the bottom of the porch steps, flashlights gripped tight. Nobody willing to be the first to move forward. "We could still leave," Nathan said one last time. "Just turn around, get in our cars, and what?" Lucas interrupted. "Spend the rest of our lives wondering, looking over our shoulders? We've already seen what it can do. The photos, the messages, whatever's in there, it's already connected to us." Maya stepped forward. Her hand found the porch railing. The wood should have been rotten, but it felt solid under her palm. Too solid, like it had been restored overnight. "Emma's in there," Maya said. "Real or not, trap or not, I'm going in." She climbed the steps before she could lose her nerve. The old wood didn't creak, didn't protest her weight. It was like walking on a stage that had been perfectly prepared for this exact moment. The others followed. Lucas right behind her, then Arya clinging to his arm, then Nathan and the twins bringing up the rear. 6 flashlight beams cutting through the fog, converging on that impossible open door. Maya paused at the threshold. Something instinctive screamed at her not to cross it. That old superstition about needing an invitation to enter, about how some doors once crossed can't be uncrossed. "Together," she said. "On 3. 1, 2. They stepped inside. The door slammed shut behind them with a sound like thunder. All 6 of them spun around, grabbing at the handle. Lucas got there first, yanking hard. The door didn't budge. It might as well have been welded shut. "Windows," Arya said, already moving toward the nearest one. But when she pulled back the heavy curtains that definitely hadn't been there a year ago, there was nothing behind them. Just solid wall, like the windows had never existed at all. "Okay," Nathan said, his breathing getting faster. "Okay, this is bad, this is really bad. We need to find another way out right now." "Look at the house," Zoe interrupted. They turned and stared. The interior of Riverside Manor had transformed. Last year, when they'd come here, it had been exactly what you'd expect from a 40-year abandoned building. Graffiti on the walls, holes in the floor, broken furniture, the stench of mold and animal droppings. A place that time and vandals had destroyed. Now it looked like someone lived here. The grand entrance hall stretched before them, but it wasn't ruined anymore. The marble floors gleamed. The chandelier overhead burned with actual candles. Hundreds of them, their flames dancing but producing no smoke. The wallpaper was pristine, deep burgundy with gold filigree patterns. A grand staircase swept up to the second floor, its mahogany banister polished to a mirror shine. And on every available surface, the side tables, the mantel above the fireplace, the stairs themselves, were photographs, dozens of them, all in vintage frames, all black and white, except for one. Maya approached it slowly, her heart hammering. The photo sat in the center of the mantel, larger than the others. Recent, in color. It showed 6 people standing in a circle. Young people, teenagers. She recognized them immediately, even though she'd never seen this photo before. It was them, taken last year, in this very house, the night Emma died. But the photo showed something they hadn't seen at the time. Behind their circle, barely visible in the darkness, were figures. Lots of figures, watching, waiting. And in the center of the circle, where Emma had collapsed, there was something else. A shadow in the shape of a hand reaching up through the floor like it was breaking through water. Reaching for Emma. "That's what took her," Lucas whispered. He'd come to stand beside Maya, staring at the photo with horror. "That's what we opened. God, look at it. It was right there and we didn't see it." "We were stupid kids playing with fire," Arya said. She was crying again, quietly. "We thought it was a game. We thought..." A sound echoed through the house. Footsteps, coming from the second floor, slow, deliberate, getting closer to the stairs. "Emma," Lucas called out. His voice cracked with hope and terror. The footsteps paused, then continued, reached the top of the stairs. A figure appeared. Maya's breath caught. For a second, just a second, it looked exactly like Emma. Same height, same build, same dark hair falling to her shoulders, wearing that purple jacket she'd been buried in. Then the figure stepped into the candlelight and Maya saw the truth. It was wearing Emma's face the way someone might wear a mask. The proportions were slightly off, the eyes set just a little too far apart, the smile too wide, revealing too many teeth. And when it moved wrong. Joints bending at angles that human joints shouldn't bend. "Hello, Maya," it said in Emma's voice. "I've missed you." "That's not her," Nathan said, backing away. "That's not Emma. We need to leave right now." "But I am Emma," the thing insisted, descending the stairs with that wrong movement. "Don't you recognize your own sister? Your own girlfriend?" It looked at Lucas now. "Your own best friend?" To Arya, "I'm exactly who you came to find." "Where's the real Emma?" Maya demanded. Her voice was shaking, but she forced herself to stand her ground. "What did you do with her?" The thing reached the bottom of the stairs, stood maybe 10 feet away from them. Up close, the illusion completely fell apart. Its skin had a waxy quality, like a department store mannequin, and its eyes, oh God, its eyes were completely black. No whites, no iris, just darkness that seemed to go on forever. "Emma is here," it said. "She's been here all year, waiting, watching, learning. Would you like to see her?" "Yes," Lucas said immediately. "Please, I need to see her." "Lucas, don't—" Nathan started, but the thing smiled that too wide smile and gestured toward a doorway that led deeper into the house. "She's in our special room, the room where it all began, where the door opened, where the veil was torn. The room where she died," Maya translated. "The room where she was born," the thing corrected. "Death and birth, two sides of the same door. You understand doors, don't you, Maya? You're standing in one right now." Maya looked around. The entrance hall suddenly felt smaller, more confined, and she realized with creeping horror that the thing was right. They weren't in a room. They were in a space between. The walls seemed to shift slightly when she wasn't looking directly at them. The chandelier hung at an angle that didn't quite make sense. "You trapped us here," she said, "the moment we crossed the threshold." "You trapped yourselves," it replied. "I simply extended the invitation. You accepted. Now come. Emma is waiting." It turned and walked toward the doorway. After 3 steps, it looked back over its shoulder. "Oh, and do try to stay together. The house gets confused when you separate. Sometimes it forgets which of you is which. Sometimes it keeps the wrong ones." Then it disappeared into the darkness beyond the doorway. The 6 of them stood frozen. "We can't follow that thing," Nathan said. "Maya, tell me you see how insane this is." "We don't have a choice," Zoe said quietly. She was looking at her phone. "Look." They all checked their phones. New messages. Dozens of them. All from Emma. All sent in the last 30 seconds. "Please hurry. It hurts when you keep me waiting. I want to see you. I want to touch you. I want to hold you. I want to keep you forever. Forever, forever." The messages kept coming faster and faster, the word forever repeating until it filled their entire screens. Then all their phones died simultaneously. "The room," Lucas said. "We go to the room. We see Emma, or whatever's left of her, and then we end this, one way or another." They moved forward as a group, no one willing to be left behind. The doorway led to a long hallway lined with more photographs. As they passed, Maya noticed something disturbing. The photos were changing. The vintage black and white images were being replaced with color photos. Recent photos. Photos of them. Here was Lucas at Emma's funeral, face contorted in grief. Here was Arya in her bedroom crying alone at night. Nathan at therapy, head in his hands. The twins standing over Emma's grave. And Maya, God, there were dozens of Maya, in her car, in her shower, sleeping in her bed. "It's been watching us," Arya breathed. "All year, every private moment. Feeding on us," Caleb added. "On our grief, our guilt, that's what it wanted. That's what the invitation was really for." The hallway ended at a door. The same door they'd found last year when they came here to perform the ritual. Except now it was different. The wood was carved with symbols, the same symbols they'd drawn in salt. and set into the center was a handle shaped like a hand, fingers outstretched, palm facing out, waiting for someone to take it. "Don't touch it," Nathan warned. "That's exactly what it wants." "Then how do we open it?" Lucas asked. The answer came from behind the door. Emma's voice, but not quite right, layered, like multiple Emmas speaking at once. "Blood," the voices said. "The door needs blood, just a drop, just a taste, a promise of what's to come." Maya pulled out her pocket knife before she could think too hard about it, drew the blade across her palm. The pain was sharp and immediate and somehow clarifying. "Maya, no." Nathan lunged for her, but it was too late. She pressed her bleeding palm to the door, to that carved hand. The door swung open. The room beyond was exactly as they'd left it 1 year ago. Concrete floor, boarded up windows. Empty except for the salt circle they'd drawn, still visible after all this time. The 5 candles still stood at each point, though they'd been burned down to nubs. And in the center of the circle, Emma sat. The real Emma. Not the thing that had led them here. Not a mannequin or a puppet or a trick. Maya knew her sister. Knew her down to her bones. The way she tucked her hair behind her left ear. The small scar on her chin from when she fell off her bike at age 7. The exact shade of her eyes, deep brown with flecks of gold. This was Emma. "Maya," Emma said. Her voice was soft, scared. "You came." Lucas made a sound like he'd been shot. "Emma, baby. Oh God, you're alive, He started to run toward her. Arya and the twins moved to follow. "Stop!" Nathan grabbed Lucas, yanking him back with surprising strength. "Look at the circle, look where she's sitting." Maya looked. Really looked. Emma sat in the exact center of the salt circle. But the salt wasn't just sitting on the concrete anymore. It had burned into the floor, creating permanent black scars in the shape of symbols. Symbols that glowed faintly with that same impossible light that illuminated the rest of the house. And Emma couldn't cross them. She sat there, knees pulled up to her chest, and every few seconds she would reach out tentatively, like she was trying to touch the salt line. Each time her fingers got close, she'd flinch back like she'd been burned. "She's trapped," Zoe whispered. "The circle isn't keeping things out, it's keeping her in." "For a year," Caleb added. "She's been trapped here for a year. Please," Emma begged. Her eyes were wet with tears. "Please get me out. It's so cold. I can't leave. I've tried everything. I need you to break the circle." "Emma, what happened that night?" Maya asked. Her voice was shaking. "Tell me what really happened." "We were doing the séance," Emma said. "Everything was going fine. Then the candles went out and I felt something. It was like being grabbed by frozen hands. It pulled me down. Not physically down, but down through layers of reality. Like falling through ice into dark water. And I couldn't breathe. My heart stopped. Everything stopped." She was crying now, and it broke Maya's heart to see it. "When I woke up, I was here. Alone. In this circle. And I've been here ever since. Watching. Waiting. Calling for help, but no one could hear me. Until tonight. Until Halloween came around again and the door opened enough for me to reach through." "The texts," Lucas said. "That was you?" "I'm sorry they were scary," Emma said. "I didn't know how else to get your attention. I'm not good at this anymore. Being here has changed me, made it hard to remember how to be human." She looked up at them with those eyes, Emma's eyes, and Maya felt her resolve crumbling. "Please," Emma said again. "Just break the circle. Just smudge the salt. Let me out and we can all go home." It was everything Maya had wanted, everything she'd dreamed about for a year. Her sister alive, asking to come home. So why did every instinct in her body scream that this was wrong? "If we break the circle," Nathan said slowly, "what happens to you? Where do you go?" "I go free," Emma said. "I go with you. I go home." "But you died," Arya pointed out. "Your body is buried. We were at your funeral. How can you go home if—" "I'll figure it out," Emma interrupted. There was an edge to her voice now, frustration bleeding through. I just need to get out of this circle first. Maya, please, you're my sister. You love me. You promised you'd come find me. Maya's hand was still bleeding from where she'd cut it. The blood dripped onto the concrete floor, and where it landed, it sizzled. The concrete was burning her blood like it was acid on metal. What happens, Maya said carefully, if we break the circle and let you out? But you're not really Emma anymore. Silence. Emma stared at her. For a long moment, her expression didn't change. Then slowly, her face began to shift. The tears dried up. The scared expression melted away. And what replaced it was something ancient and hungry and patient. Such a smart girl, not Emma said in a voice that was no longer trying to sound human. So much like your sister. She was smart too. That's why I chose her. The thing wearing Emma's face stood up, stretched, bones cracking and reforming with sounds that made Arya gag. But you're right. The circle is a problem. Been a problem all year. Took her body but couldn't take her soul. The ritual you performed last year, amateur work, opened a door but drew a circle that trapped what came through. So Emma is in there, Lucas said. Somewhere. You're possessing her body, but she's still... Oh, there's nothing left of Emma, the thing said pleasantly. I consumed her months ago, piece by piece, memory by memory. She fought, I'll give her that. Lasted longer than most. But in the end, they all give in. They all let me in. It smiled with Emma's mouth, and the smile kept growing, splitting the face wider and wider. But I need a new vessel now. This one's breaking down. Dead meat only stays fresh for so long, even with my help. So I sent the invitation. And you all came. 6 new bodies. 6 new possibilities. The thing gestured, and the door behind them slammed shut. Now, it said, let's discuss who's going to break this circle and set me free. Nobody's breaking that circle, Maya said. Her voice was steadier than she felt. We're leaving. All of us. Right now. The thing that had been Emma laughed. The sound echoed wrong in the concrete room, bouncing off walls that seemed to be getting closer. Leaving? Oh, sweetheart, you can't leave. You were invited, you accepted, you crossed the threshold. Do you know what that means? It took a step closer to the edge of the circle. Emma's body was deteriorating rapidly now that the illusion had dropped. Skin graying, eyes sinking into the skull, fingers elongating into something that looked more like claws. It means you're mine now. All of you. The house won't let you leave until the contract is fulfilled. What contract? Nathan demanded. We didn't sign anything. The promise you made over Emma's grave. It interrupted. 1 year from now, you said. Halloween 2024. We meet at Riverside Manor. We perform the ritual. We bring Emma home. It smiled with what was left of Emma's face. Well, here you are. Time to fulfill your end of the bargain. That promise was to Emma, Arya said. Not to you. Emma invited me in. Emma's promise became my promise. Emma's debts became my debts. And now, the thing gestured at its decaying body. I need payment. Lucas was shaking with rage. You killed her. You killed the girl I loved and wore her like a costume, and I gave her what she wanted, the thing said. Emma wanted to pierce the veil, wanted to see what lay beyond, wanted proof that death wasn't the end. Well, she got her proof. It spread its arms wide. She's seen things that would shatter your mind, experienced eternities of darkness and cold, and yes, I consumed her in the process. But she knew the risks. You all knew the risks. We were kids, Arya shouted. We didn't know anything. Ignorance isn't innocence, it replied. You opened a door. Doors work both ways. Something went out, Emma's soul. Something came in, me. That's the exchange. That's always been the exchange. Then take me, Lucas said suddenly. I'll break the circle. I'll let you out. You can have my body, just let the others go. Lucas, no. Maya grabbed his arm. She died because of me, Lucas said. His eyes were streaming tears. Because I wanted to impress her. Because I convinced everyone else to do the ritual when they wanted to leave. It's my fault. So let me fix it. The thing considered him, tilted its head at an angle that would break a human neck. Tempting. Young. Healthy. Strong emotional attachment to the deceased. That makes possession so much easier. But no, I don't want one of you. It smiled. I want all of you. The room erupted. The walls began bleeding. Not paint. Actual blood, seeping through the concrete like the house itself had been wounded. The temperature plummeted until they could see their breath in thick clouds, and the shadows in the corners started moving. Things emerged from those shadows. Humanoid shapes, but wrong. Too tall. Too thin. Moving with that same disjointed motion as the thing in the circle. You see, the thing explained conversationally as its servants surrounded the group. Emma wasn't the first. This house has been feeding for a very long time. Every person who enters, every soul that gets trapped. They all become part of it. Part of me. And now you will too. Fight them, Nathan yelled, swinging his flashlight at the nearest shadow thing. The metal connected with something solid and the creature shrieked, a sound like tearing metal, but it didn't stop coming. They tried to run, made it 3 steps before more of those things materialized, blocking the door. Caleb threw himself at them anyway, desperate to break through. One of the creatures grabbed him, its 2 long fingers wrapping around his throat. Caleb! Zoe screamed, launching herself at her twin. She managed to break its grip, but 2 more were already converging on them. This was how they died. Maya understood that now. This was how it ended. 6 teenagers who thought they could cheat death, facing the consequences of their arrogance. But then something happened. The salt circle began to glow, not the faint illumination it had been giving off before. This was bright, blinding, pure white light that seemed to hurt the shadow creatures. They recoiled, shrieking and hissing, and in the center of that light, something else appeared. A figure, translucent, barely visible, but Maya would recognize her sister anywhere. Emma? She whispered. The real Emma, or what was left of her. A ghost, an echo, a soul that had been trapped here but not consumed, not completely. Maya, Ghost Emma said. Her voice was faint, like a radio signal breaking up. Listen, the circle, it's a prison, but it's also a protection. The thing that took my body, it can't leave the circle without breaking it, and it can't break it itself. So we just don't break it, Lucas said. He'd made it back to Maya's side, bleeding from a gash on his forehead where one of the creatures had struck him. We leave it trapped and find another way out. There is no other way out, Ghost Emma said. Not for you. The house won't release you. But she flickered, her image disrupting like a glitching video. But it has to follow rules. Old rules. The invitation rules. What rules? Nathan demanded. He and Arya had their backs pressed together, surrounded by shadow creatures that seemed content to watch now that the ghost had appeared. You were invited, Ghost Emma explained, by me, the real me, the part of me that's been trapped here, trying to warn you away. The texts, the photos, that was me trying to stop you from coming, but it twisted everything, made it look like I wanted you here. Wait, Zoe said. You didn't want us to come? You were trying to warn us away? The message, come find me, was me begging you not to come, Ghost Emma cried. I was trying to say, don't come find me. But it changed the words. It has that power here, to twist communication, to corrupt intention. Maya felt sick. They'd walked into a trap because they'd misunderstood, because they'd wanted so badly for Emma to be reachable, that they'd ignored every warning sign. How do we fix this? She asked. How do we get out and trap that thing permanently? Ghost Emma looked at the thing wearing her body. Disgust and rage crossed her translucent features. The circle is holding it, but the circle is also holding me. My soul is bound to this room, to the place where I died. If you destroy the circle completely, not just break it but destroy the symbols themselves, it releases everything, me and it. Then you'd both be free, Arya said. It gets what it wants. Unless, Ghost Emma said slowly, unless someone takes my place in the circle. Silence fell. Even the shadow creatures stopped moving. That's the exchange, Ghost Emma continued. A soul for a soul. Someone willingly enters the circle and stays, becomes the new anchor, the new prison guard, and the thing gets expelled from my body, forced back to wherever it came from. But whoever goes in, Lucas couldn't finish the sentence. Stays, Ghost Emma confirmed. Forever, or until someone else makes the trade. That's how the house works. That's how it's always worked. There's always a prisoner, always someone holding the door closed from the inside. I'll do it. Everyone turned to look at Maya. She was surprised to hear her own voice saying the words, but as soon as she said them, she knew they were true. Maya, no. Lucas started. I'm the one who should have been here last year, Maya interrupted. Emma called me. She was scared. She wanted help. And I brushed her off because I was drunk and having fun and I didn't want to deal with little sister drama. Tears were streaming down her face now. She died because I wasn't there, so I'm going to be here now. That's not how this works, Nathan said desperately. You can't just sacrifice yourself because you feel guilty. Yes, I can. That's exactly how it works. Emma just said, someone willing, someone who chooses it. Maya looked at her sister's ghost. Right? Ghost Emma was crying too, though ghosts shouldn't be able to cry. Maya, you don't have to do this. You don't have to give up your life for... You're my little sister, Maya said simply. Of course I do. She moved toward the circle. The shadow creatures parted to let her through. Even they understood the rules. The sanctity of a willing sacrifice. Wait, Arya called out. If she goes in, the thing leaves Emma's body, but where does it go? It could just possess one of us instead. Good point. Maya paused at the edge of the circle. The thing wearing Emma's corpse was smiling again. Smart girl. Yes, I need a new vessel. The body in the circle goes in. I go out. I go into one of you. Then we all leave together, happily ever after. Like hell, Zoe said. Quite literally, the thing agreed. There has to be another way, Caleb said. Some way to trap it permanently. Emma? He looked at the ghost. You've been here a year. You must know something. Some weakness? Ghost Emma flickered again. She was fading, using too much energy, manifesting and speaking. Fire, she managed. The original binding, before the salt circle. There were ashes. Burn the body while someone's in the circle. Burn it completely. The thing will have nowhere to go. It'll be pulled back to the other side of the door. But that means burning you too, Lucas said. His voice broke. Burning what's left of you. I'm already dead, Ghost Emma whispered. Have been for a year. This is just letting go. The thing in the circle realized what they were planning. It began to rage, throwing itself at the salt barrier. Emma's body was breaking apart with the force of it, skin tearing, bones cracking. You can't, it screamed. The house won't let you. The shadows will stop you. But the shadow creatures weren't moving. They stood there, watching, waiting. They're not yours, Ghost Emma said. They're the house's, and the house is tired. Tired of you. Tired of being used as a feeding ground. It wants to sleep again. Everyone who has a lighter, pull it out now, Nathan commanded. For the first time all night, he sounded like he knew exactly what to do. We're going to need to move fast. Arya had one, so did Caleb. 2 lighters against a corpse that probably wouldn't burn easily. Not enough, Lucas said. He looked around the room desperately, then his eyes landed on the old wooden door, the boarded windows. But we can make it enough. He started tearing boards off the windows. The wood was dry, old, perfect kindling. Nathan and Caleb joined him, ripping apart anything that would burn. Maya stood at the edge of the circle, waiting, ready. "I'm scared," she admitted to her sister's ghost. "I know," Ghost Emma said. "I was too. Still am. But Maya, thank you for coming. Thank you for trying, thank you for being brave enough to let me go." "I love you," Maya whispered. "I love you too. Always." The others had gathered enough wood. They piled it around the circle, staying carefully outside the salt line. The thing inside was screaming now, begging, threatening, promising anything if they'd just stop. They didn't stop. "On my count," Nathan said. He and Caleb held their lighters ready. 3, 2, 1. They lit the wood. "Maya, now!" Lucas yelled. Maya stepped across the salt line, felt something cold rush through her, felt the weight of the binding settle on her shoulders like chains. She was the anchor now, the prison guard, the door that wouldn't open. And the thing began to burn. Emma's body went up like it had been soaked in gasoline, flames consuming dead flesh, and the thing inside screamed, not with Emma's voice, with 1,000 voices, all the souls it had consumed over decades, all crying out as the fire destroyed their prison and their prison guard at once. The shadow creatures began to dissipate, fading back into the darkness they'd come from. The blood on the walls reversed, flowing back into the concrete. The house itself seemed to sigh. Ghost Emma smiled at Maya one last time. Then she too began to fade. "Wait," Maya called. "I'm in the circle. Let me talk to her. Let me say goodbye properly." But Ghost Emma was already gone, dispersed, finally free. The fire spread, consuming the old wood, racing up the walls. The house was burning now, really burning. All that old timber finally catching. "We have to go," Arya said, coughing on smoke. "But Maya," Lucas protested. "Is in the circle," Maya finished for him. Her voice was calm, resigned. "I can't leave. That's the point. That's the sacrifice." "No." Lucas moved toward the circle. "No, I won't let you." "The door!" Zoe yelled. "It's opening!" The door that had been sealed shut was swinging open, smoke billowing out. Behind it, they could see the hallway, the entrance, the way out. "Go," Maya said. "Please, don't let this be for nothing." They hesitated, all of them, looking at her standing in that circle as flames crept closer. Then the ceiling groaned, started to collapse. "Go!" Maya screamed. They ran. Nathan dragging Lucas, who fought every step. Arya and the twins disappearing into the smoke, racing for the exit as the house came down around them. Maya stood in her circle and watched them go. Watched the house burn, felt the cold presence of the binding holding her in place. This was her eternity now, standing guard over a door that must never open again. But at least Emma was free. At least they were all safe. At least... Wait. Something was wrong. The binding felt different. The cold was fading. The chains on her shoulders were lifting. Maya looked down at the salt circle. The fire had reached it, was burning away the salt, destroying the symbols, destroying the binding. She could move. She could run. "Maya!" Lucas's voice from somewhere in the smoke. "Maya, run!" She ran, sprinted through smoke and flame, following the sound of his voice. The house was collapsing, stairs crumbling, ceiling caving in. But she could see him, see all of them, standing in the doorway, reaching for her. She jumped, flew through falling debris, felt hands, real warm human hands, grab her arms and pull. They tumbled out onto the porch as the house imploded behind them. Flames shooting into the sky, windows exploding, the entire structure coming down. Maya lay on the ground, gasping for breath, hardly believing she was alive. "How?" she managed. "The binding." "Emma's last gift," Arya said. She was looking at her phone, at a final message that had somehow come through. "The circle was never meant to hold you. Only until the fire burned the demon away. Run, little sister. Run and live the life I couldn't. I love you. Goodbye. They watched Riverside Manor burn. 6 teenagers who'd somehow survived the impossible. 6 people who would never be the same. But at least they were alive. At least they were together. At least Emma's soul was finally at rest. Detective James Rivera found them at 3:47 a.m. 6 teenagers sitting on the curb across from what used to be Riverside Manor, covered in soot, bleeding from various cuts and burns, staring at the smoking ruins with the blank expressions of people who'd seen too much. The fire department was still working to contain the blaze. Neighbors had called it in around 12:30 a.m. By the time the trucks arrived, the house was already gone. A century of history reduced to ash and charred timber. "Anyone want to tell me what the hell happened here?" Rivera asked. They looked at him, then at each other, some silent communication passing between them. "Gas leak," Lucas said finally. "We were exploring. Stupid, I know. Someone must have lit a cigarette. The whole place just went up." Rivera didn't believe them. He'd been a cop too long to buy that simple of a story. But when he went to investigate the scene the next day, he found something that made him reconsider everything. In the burned-out basement, where the fire had been hottest, there was a circle scorched into the concrete. Not burned by the fire. The forensics team confirmed that. Burned before the fire, weeks before, maybe years. And in the center of that circle, they found remains. Human remains. But not fresh. The coroner estimated the body had been dead for at least a year, possibly longer. Cause of death? Unknown. The heart had simply stopped. They ran dental records, DNA tests. Emma Chen, the girl who'd been buried a year ago, whose coffin they exhumed and found empty except for bags of sand weighed to the right amount. Emma had never been buried. She'd been in that house the whole time. Rivera tried to investigate further, tried to get the teenagers to break, to tell him the real story, but their story never changed, never wavered. And eventually, the department told him to let it go. Too many inconsistencies, too many things that didn't make sense. Better to close the case as accidental death during illegal trespassing and move on. But Rivera couldn't move on. He started researching Riverside Manor, found records going back to 1884, found newspaper articles about disappearances, people who went into that house and never came out. 14 confirmed cases over 140 years, plus dozens more unconfirmed. And every 40 years or so, like clockwork, there would be a fire. The house would burn down. Then someone would rebuild it, and the cycle would start again. Until now. Now the land sat empty. The city condemned it, put up fencing and warning signs. But they never rebuilt. Because Rivera, against all protocol and common sense, made sure the land never got cleared. Made sure the ashes of Riverside Manor stayed exactly where they fell. Made sure that door, whatever it had been, stayed sealed. He visits sometimes, on Halloween, stands at the fence line and watches the lot, making sure nothing stirs, making sure nothing tries to claw its way back. So far, nothing has, but he keeps watching anyway. As for the 6 teenagers, Maya Chen transferred to a college across the country, put 3,000 miles between herself and Sacramento. She studies psychology now, specializes in grief counseling, helps people process loss in healthy ways. She never talks about what happened that Halloween night, but sometimes her clients notice she has a tattoo on her wrist. Small, simple, just a name. Emma. Lucas Martinez became a firefighter. Says he likes helping people, likes saving lives. But really, he's trying to make up for the one life he couldn't save. He keeps Emma's photo in his locker. Still talks to it sometimes when he thinks no one's listening. Still says I'm sorry more times than anyone can count. Aria Thompson and Nathan Kim got married 3 years later, moved to Oregon, had 2 kids, live a quiet, normal life. They never celebrate Halloween, never let their children trick-or-treat, and they have a rule in their house. No Ouija boards, no séances, no games that involve talking to the dead. The twins, Zoe and Caleb Rivers, stayed in Sacramento. opened a bookstore together that specializes in occult literature. Not because they're interested in practicing, because they want to educate, want to warn people about the real dangers, about what happens when you open doors you don't understand. They have a section in the back, behind the counter, books that aren't for sale, research materials, documentation of every case they can find of rituals gone wrong, possessions, hauntings, doorways between worlds. And at the front of the store, framed on the wall, is a photo. 6 teenagers at a party 2 weeks before Halloween 2023. Laughing, happy, whole. Emma Chen is in the center, arms around her sister and her boyfriend, her smile bright enough to light the room. Underneath, a plaque reads, "In memory of Emma Chen, 2007-2023, who taught us that some doors should stay closed. Here's what I need you to understand. This story is real. The names are real. The dates are real. I spent 3 months investigating this case. 3 months that cost me my marriage, my sleep, and very nearly my sanity. The official report says Emma Chen died of cardiac arrest during a teenage party. It says Riverside Manor burned down due to faulty wiring. It says 6 kids got lucky and escaped with minor injuries. The official report is a lie. I've seen things that can't be explained. Found evidence that shouldn't exist. Talked to people who experienced horrors that our rational minds refuse to accept. And I'm telling you this now because Halloween is coming around again. And every year I see the same pattern. Teenagers looking for thrills. Adults dismissing warnings as superstition. People who think they are too smart or too careful or too special to fall into the same traps. Emma thought that too. She was brilliant. She researched. She followed the rules. She thought she could control what she was inviting in. She died at 17 years old, her soul trapped for a year in a circle of salt while something wore her body like a costume. You want to play with Ouija boards? Want to do séances? Want to explore abandoned buildings and perform rituals you found online? Go ahead. But understand this. Doors work both ways. When you reach out to the other side, sometimes the other side reaches back. And what comes through isn't always willing to leave. The veil between worlds is thinnest on Halloween. That's not just folklore. That's not just superstition. There's a reason cultures around the world develop traditions to protect themselves on this night. Costumes to confuse spirits, candles to light the way for friendly ghosts, salt lines to keep out unwanted visitors. These weren't just quaint traditions, they were survival strategies. And we've forgotten them. We've turned Halloween into a holiday about candy and costumes. We've sanitized it, made it safe and commercial and fun. But the door is still there, still thin, still waiting for someone foolish enough to knock. Maya Chen is 21 years old now. She's in therapy twice a week. She takes medication for PTSD. She has nightmares where she's back in that circle, feeling the binding settle on her shoulders, watching her friends run while she burns. But she's alive. Emma isn't. And that's the difference between the smart people and the dead people. The smart people listen to warnings. The smart people respect the boundaries between worlds. The smart people understand that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. Emma was smart. She really was. But she let curiosity override caution. Let excitement override common sense. Let the desire to prove something override the instinct that told her to walk away. Don't be Emma. Be Maya. Be the person who survives to tell the story, to warn others, to make sure that what happened to your friend doesn't happen to someone else. So here's my question for you. Right now, sitting wherever you are, watching this video, are you the type of person who would walk into that house? If you got a text message from someone you lost, someone you loved, someone you'd give anything to see again, would you answer? Would you cross that threshold? Would you break that circle? I hope not. I really hope not. But human nature being what it is, someone reading this will. Someone will think, it won't happen to me. I'll be more careful. I'll do it differently. And maybe you're right. Maybe you'll be the exception. Or maybe, next Halloween, Detective Rivera will be standing at another crime scene, looking at another group of traumatized teenagers, trying to piece together another impossible story. The choice is yours. If this story affected you, If it made you think twice about your Halloween plans, if it reminded you of someone you've lost, if it scared you in that way it touched something true, hit that subscribe button right now. We investigate the stories that keep people awake at night, the real experiences, the documented cases, the warnings that get ignored until it's too late. Drop a comment below and tell us, what's your scariest real-life experience? What's the closest you've come to something you couldn't explain? What's the story you've never told because nobody would believe you? We read every single comment. The best ones become full investigations. Your story might be our next video. And if you're planning any Halloween activities this year, parties, haunted houses, graveyard visits, anything, please be smart, be careful, respect the boundaries. Because the scariest thing about this story isn't the demon, or the possession, or the haunted house. The scariest thing is that it started with 6 teenagers who thought they were being careful. They thought they knew what they were doing. They thought they could control it. They were wrong. Don't be wrong. Stay safe out there. Remember Emma. Honor her memory by being smarter than she was, by living the life she didn't get to live. And whatever you do, whatever invitation you receive, whatever door presents itself, think twice before you knock. I'm breaking every regulation by releasing this footage. If you're watching this, it means I decided the truth was more important than my career. The Chen case file is classified. The evidence is sealed. But the warning needs to get out. Every Halloween I stand at that empty lot where Riverside Manor used to be. And every Halloween I see something moving in the ashes, just for a second, just at the corner of my vision. The house is gone. But I don't think the door ever really closed. I don't think it ever can. God help us all. Happy Halloween. And remember, some games aren't meant to be played. Some doors aren't meant to be opened. And some invitations should never, ever be accepted. Subscribe, comment, stay safe. We'll see you in the next investigation. If you survived that long,